Hey, if you've been cutting calories and watching the scale do nothing, you must be getting frustrated. Well, there's very good chance you're making one major mistake. And we're going to talk about that today. So hang in there because there's some great information headed your way. For women over 40, navigating their midlife metabolism, the old advice to just eat less and move more is a trap. When you slice your food intake, protein is usually the first thing to go, unfortunately. Often derailed by hidden dietary habits and problems that we all face, like refined sugars, alcohol, refined carbs, and junk food. Well, today we're going to solve the protein puzzle so you can stop fighting your body and start working with it. As always, I have to remind you, these videos are just for educational purposes only so that you can educate yourself and make better decisions. Talk to your healthcare provider. If there's anything in this video that you want to have a conversation with, I'm sure that they'd be happy to talk to you about it. But protein, that is kind of the secret weapon. So to understand why undereating protein wrecks your metabolism and your progress, we have to look at fundamental rule of biology. Your body can't store amino acids. You've got plenty of protein in there, but if you're not constantly adding new protein, there's a problem. Think about how our bodies handle the other macros like carbohydrates. We all know that carbohydrates can be stored as fat. So if we don't burn it up right away, or if we put too many carbohydrates in there, we're going to be in trouble and it'll just store as fat. And that is not what you want to do. We can store them in our liver and muscles. Fat? Oh yeah, we all know that fat can be stored too. But protein and amino acids, there is no warehouse in the body to store them. You can't eat a massive, huge steak on Sunday and expect that you're storing away protein to use for a rainy day. That's not how your body works. Your body operates on a strict day-to-day, daily program. It's like you eat it and you use it every single day. Your body, your organs, your immune system, everything is breaking down and then rebuilding. So you have to have the amino acids in the proteins in order to rebuild your body. It's like an anabolic and a catabolic system. You're literally tearing down your muscles and your all of your organs and tissues and everything in your body. So protein are like the building blocks. You've got to have protein in order to establish and rebuild those important organs. They need a fresh flow of amino acids every day. And if those amino acids are not coming from your plate because you ate them, guess where they're coming from? That's right, your muscles. Your body doesn't care if you have a plan that you're going to eat some more food tomorrow. If you haven't eaten enough protein on a daily basis, it starts taking it from other parts of your body. So you can't beat the system. And as we get older and older, our muscles are more important than ever. And it's really hard to build muscle after 45 or 50. You can, but it takes concentrated effort, and the amount of protein that your body is eating does not always get broken down and utilized to build muscle. It's less efficient as you get older. Your digestive system is less efficient and everything. So it's super important that you're not depleting your protein stores every day. I can't say that enough. I did that for years, and so I know that I would be in much better shape, and I wouldn't have been, as overweight as I was if I had taken better care of my protein daily requirements. So I hope that what you're learning today is going to help you not to make the same mistakes that I made, because after 60, it's really hard to put on muscle. So protect your muscles and your skeleton and all those things by eating the right amount of protein. So let me repeat that. Your body is literally going to cannibalize itself if you're not eating enough protein. All right, let's talk about muscle for a minute. Muscle is not just so that you look great. It's your core. It's the strength that you're going to need to get you through the next 30 or 40 years of your life. But every decade, you're losing a certain percent of your muscle mass. And if you're not working to keep it through weight-bearing exercises and, proper eating, and getting the right amount of aerobic and muscle building exercises, then you're going to get frail. It doesn't have to be that way as you age. You can be strong. I know 80-year-olds that are strong. You don't have to be frail and weak. You can literally keep your muscle mass now and try to add to it if it's possible. The other great thing about your muscle mass is it keeps your metabolic rate high, which means you burn fat, you burn calories a lot better. If you have ever been sick, if you've ever been sick in the hospital and you couldn't move for a long time and you got kind of debilitated, or even, just you had the flu and you couldn't get out of bed for a while, you notice how weak you feel. Well, imagine that you just are doing that purposely to yourself by undereating protein. That is such a health risk that you're taking just for vanity. And honestly, really thin, emaciated people do not look healthy, and they don't have the strength that they need to just, pick up some groceries or carry a grandkid or, do whatever it is you need to do in your daily life. And so I'm encouraging you to really take this seriously and, you know, make sure you're getting enough protein. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the average woman, because I'm assuming that not a lot of men are watching me. So what the average woman needs to eat on a daily basis to make sure she has enough protein. So the international standard seems to be anywhere between zero point 0.8 and 1 um, gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight per day. Now that's a lot. That's a lot. I I had a really hard time when I first switched over to this kind of eating. I wasn't eating enough protein on a regular basis because as a woman, you sacrifice the protein for your, kids or your husband or whatever, and you get to the point where you're not as hungry for protein, and so you just stop eating as much protein. Well, you can't like change everything overnight. You literally have to continually add more protein so that you can digest it and your body can assimilate it. So tomorrow, you can't suddenly eat 100 grams of protein if you haven't been doing that. So how do you calculate? The way that you calculate this is whatever your ideal body weight would be. So for me, my ideal body weight should be 125 pounds. That I would feel comfortable with that. Probably maybe 130, just depending on your body structure, depending on your height, all those factors weigh into it. But don't think about like if I went by my high school weight, then I should weigh 110 pounds. And that's just ridiculous because I was 14 and now I'm an adult woman. So you really should think about what was your weight when you were 18 to 25. In that range, that's the ideal body weight that you want to go for. You don't want to be going for that, almost teenager, weight. That's not healthy. So think about what that ideal body weight would be for you and then really just multiply it by either zero point 0.8 or do the easy way, do the easy math and do 1. So 1 pound, 125 times 1 is 125 grams of protein a day. That's what I should be getting, or 130 or 135. I'd be happy with either of those. I focus on that every day, trying to get that much protein. I will tell you, I have to be intentional because I'm going to give you a couple of figures so that you know what some of the the amount of protein in various foods that we eat are. Because I was shocked and surprised at how little protein I was eating. I was eating probably half of what my daily requirements were. And so it's no wonder if people get overweight because their metabolic rate falls and their muscle mass falls. And so you're not burning the calories that you should be burning because muscle definitely burns more than fat. Muscle mass burns more than fat mass. And so anyway, okay, so we'll talk about some specific amounts of protein in different things that you might eat in a day. Okay, so we have to solve the protein puzzle for you. You have to think about what we just talked about, your size and what your ideal body weight would be. And you also have to think about what your lifestyle is like. So if you have a family and you are eating meals together all day, then you're going to eat 3 meals a day. But if you live alone or you have a really high stress job, really demanding, you have to be out the door at 7 or 6 or whatever, because of traffic. If you have a high stress and high demand job, then you really, um, you're going to have to work harder to make sure that you get the right amount of protein all day. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to cram all that protein into one big meal. You're not going to get the benefit from it. Like I was saying before, if you have a huge steak, it's 50 or 60 grams. Well, that's great, but your body's not going to keep all that and store it for you for the next day. So, spreading it out, that's what you want to do. You want to spread it out through the day. So, whatever your eating window is, if you're a person who gets up at 6 and is out the door by 7 and you do a protein shake, excuse me, you do a protein shake or you eat a breakfast, just be sure you're eating protein for that first meal. Don't be eating cereal or bagels or a muffin at the office. Those are not going to help you. We've talked about carbs before. So, one of the things that does help you is figure out what your eating window for the day is. I'll use me because maybe some of you are like me. I work part time. And so sometimes on certain days, I go to the office. And on those days when I'm going to the office, I actually have a shorter window where I eat. I actually don't have food until about noon or maybe 1, depending on what's going on in the office. And then what I do is I extend my eating window until 6 or 6:30 when I can get home and have my other meal. On those days, I have 2 meals. I don't do 3 meals. So I have to work hard to get my protein in that day. So we distribute the protein throughout your whole day. Hopefully you're not like me and you have a really narrow eating window. So basically 30 grams per meal plus a snack. So that's about 120 grams of protein in a day, and that's fairly normal. Most people have a hard time hitting 75 or 100. So do the best you can for now, and be sure to utilize tools to help you figure out like an egg is 6 grams of protein. So you're not going to be able to eat one egg. You're going to have to eat 3 eggs or something. And a breakfast sausage link, that's 4 grams. And so you're going to need a few of those with your eggs, or have a 3 egg omelet and some ham or some bacon or something with it. So it's kind of up to you to think about how you're going to distribute that 100 to 150 grams of protein a day. The average woman is probably about 120. And it's a puzzle. It is. It's not easy to solve, but once you have figured it out, you'll start feeling it. You'll feel like, oh, you'll feel satisfied. And you'll stop being like the cow in the field grazing and grazing because they're never full. They've got, what is it, 4 stomachs or some crazy thing. But you don't have to be somebody who's constantly snacking and looking for food because you're hungry. And you might not think that you're hungry, but if you're looking for snacks all the time, you are hungry. You did not get enough protein at your last meal. So I'm going to encourage you, you can do this. It takes effort and intention, but you've got this. I know you can do it. So even if you don't like puzzles, I hope that you had fun today learning a little bit more about protein and how important it is to your body and your structure and your muscle mass and all those things so that you can have a more fulfilling life and a stronger life. So remember, protein is the master key, but some of the other things that are important are the lifestyle things like, are you getting enough sleep? If you're under stress, your body is not going to let things go because it's too freaked out and too stressed. So, practice some peaceful thoughts and take a walk. Take a walk in the country. It'll help you relax. There's actually um nature has a way of calming our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system down so we're not so anxious all the time. It's amazing what a good little walk in the neighborhood or the country will do for us. So, if you hate puzzles, don't worry. This was the only puzzle we're going to solve today, and there were no cardboard pieces for you to find. So I hope this was kind of fun for you, and let me know how you're doing. Does this make sense to you? And if not, ask me questions. I check the comments. I'm trying to think about what you need to know and what you might not quite understand. And so hopefully, if there are ideas you have or thoughts you have or comments that you need to understand more fully this process, leave a comment, and also just let me know what your thoughts are. When you hit that 30-gram threshold per meal, you trigger some muscle protein synthesis. But when you don't, snacking is a massive problem for so many of us, constantly wandering into the kitchen to graze like a cow in a field. But when you get adequate high protein, your body is simply not hungry. You stop grazing because your cells are fully satisfied, and you trigger the muscle protein synthesis and you activate satiety signals that keep your blood sugar steady and tell your metabolism we are safe, we are nourished, and we don't need to break down muscle. So, this addition directly counters the constant snacking disruptor piece that we talked about earlier by showing protein as the ultimate solution to the end of the grazing habit. So I love peanut butter, like not like Jiffy and Skip and all that stuff, or Skippy or whatever they're called, but real ground peanuts on celery is a great protein snack, or hard-boiled eggs, or some ham and cheese roll-ups, whatever you need to do to keep yourself satisfied with the protein that you're eating. All right, that's enough. I'm sorry, it's been a long video. I hope you got something out of this. Leave us a comment and like and subscribe if you can. Thanks.